Hey, Michael with XForcePC. I want to talk about how to connect to the internet. So, a frequent question I get is, should I get Wi-Fi? What is Wi-Fi? And what's the difference between wireless in and wireless AC? Well, just to be clear, there are two main ways to connect to the internet, and those two main ways are with a wire. Ethernet is what it's referred to. So, with a cable like this. And this is a Cat 5e. Cat stands for category, so category 5e cable. Very standard cable, kind of looks like a big phone cable. And every desktop that we build comes with an Ethernet port. And that is the preferred way to connect if you can. But for the most part, it requires you to be in the same room with your router because you have to have a wire and run over and plug one end of the wire into the router and the other end of the wire into your computer. And unless your house is wired with Cat 5e or wired for networking, then you probably aren't going to be able to do that unless you're in the same room with the router. So then comes the other way, and that's wirelessly. And I always tell people, you don't do wireless because you want to, you do it because you have to. You should always try to be wired if possible, and wireless if you have to be. So if your router is in the next room or in the room above you, then you may need to go with Wi-Fi. And again, you're doing because you have to, not because you want to. There are two competing standards. I shouldn't say competing. There are two different standards, wireless in and wireless AC. The wireless in is the older standard. It's not as fast and it costs less. The wireless AC is the newest standard. It's faster, travels farther, but costs more than the wireless in. You may say, well, gosh, I don't know what kind of router I have, if it does wireless AC or wireless in. Well, that doesn't really matter because they're all backwards and forwards compatible. A wireless AC card can talk to a wireless in router, and a wireless in card can still talk to a wireless AC router. They're all backwards and forwards compatible. So that's really not an issue. The issue is how much speed, how much performance you need. If you've got a really fast internet connection, like 100 meg or faster, you're probably going to want to get the wireless AC. But if you're out in the boonies, you just don't have a particularly fast internet connection, wireless in will probably get the job done. One more distinctive difference between the two is the wireless AC card has 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz. It supports both bands, whereas the wireless in is just 2.4 gigahertz. And not to get too technical, but 5.8 gigahertz is faster, but doesn't penetrate walls as well. So if you're going to be fairly close to the router, 5.8 is the better choice because you'll get more speed. If you're going to be kind of far away from the router, there's several walls in between you and the router, then you're probably going to want to use the 2.4 gigahertz. And most of the real modern top-end routers come with a 2.4 gigahertz radio and a 5 gigahertz radio. One last thing I'll mention is the wireless AC itself, the letters themselves. AC has nothing to do with alternating current, in other words, AC electricity. It's simply a naming situation. I don't know why they call it AC, but it's simply a name. So don't let that confuse you. It has nothing to do with the power lines in your house. So hopefully that clears up some of the differences between wireless AC and wireless in and enables you to make a choice between the two. If you're going to be a heavy user of wireless, probably want to go with the wireless AC. If it's kind of an afterthought, you're kind of getting it just in case you might need it, or you're a very light user, or you have a very slow internet connection, then maybe you save a little money and go with the wireless in instead.